normally comes an event where the electorate says, up with this, we cannot put. Gordon Brown, do you remember that bigoted woman? From memory, I think her name was Gillian Duffy, but don't quote me, living in Rochdale, when his mic was left what's called hot or live, mic was left on. Mrs Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher, probably the poll tax. Tony Blair, I would say, Iraq. It happened. Boris Johnson, well, where do you start? Probably from the day he took office. Liz Truss, one word, budget. There's always a tipping point. So are the horrific events, particularly, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, the latter of the 2 fatal shootings by ICE agents, that's right, 2 in the space of a month, actually considerably under a month, is that the tipping point? When I tell you that respondents to a survey done by Fox News, I stress Fox News again, days after the killing, found that almost 60% of respondents believe that ICE had gone too far, the tactics were too much. But if you make halting illegal immigration pretty much the main plank of your electoral pitch, you then fund ICE agents tens of billions of dollars and allow them to dress almost as a paramilitary force, complete with balaclavas, bulletproof vests, guns, sidearms, whatever else, pepper spray. Something's going to go wrong. And if you laud the tactics of effectively dragging people from cars, rounding up children, going into restaurants, dragging people out the door, screaming staff, something's going to go wrong. And it did, fatally. So I'm asking you, is this the Trump tipping point? Or, as one newspaper says, rather more colloquially, has Trump gone bonkers? We'll try and look at it slightly more intellectually than that. But to the most recent events, and for the background, what's called White House border czar, Tom Homan, has said neither he nor Trump want any more people to die. Well, that's fortunate, isn't it? As ICE agents in Minnesota continue their operations. Trump sent Homan to the state in a bid to quell tensions following the fatal shootings of those ICE protesters that I referenced. He staged a press conference from the city yesterday, and Tom Homan had this message.
I don't want to see anybody die. Not officers, not members of the community, and not the targets of our operations.
And in an apparent swipe at the US Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, who has faced criticism for posing for photos with ICE agents, Homan said he was not in the city for photo ops.
I'm not here because the federal government has carried its mission out perfectly. First thing I said to senior staff when I walked in here is what I told you earlier. I didn't come here looking for photo ops or headlines. I come here looking for solutions.
But Homan had this message to those who seek to protest.
You have your First Amendment rights, and I support that. You have the right to protest. I'm just asking you to keep it peaceful. But threatening law enforcement officers, engaging in impeding and obstruction and assault is never okay. And there will be zero tolerance. You interfere, impede, assault ICE officers, you will be arrested.
But the red-hot fury towards ICE continues, and now rock star Bruce Springsteen has released this song, Streets of Minneapolis, in support of those who lost their lives.
Now they say they're here to uphold the law, but they trample on our rights. If your skin is black or brown, my friend, you can be questioned or deported on sight.
Let's turn to someone living in Minneapolis. Jeanne Massey is a resident working in politics and government and elections, lives just 1 block away from the home of Alex Pretti, of course, the second of those victims, and joins me now. Privileged to have you on. Thank you for staying up late into the night or getting up early in the morning. First question, how would you define or describe the mood of your city right now? Good morning.
Well, first, thanks for having me. Good morning, UK. I've got family in the UK, so happy to say hello to family.
Good to have you on, Jeanne.
Yeah, thanks. Well, the situation here in Minneapolis remains incredibly intense. You described the situation perfectly well. So while we had what we thought would be maybe a turning point in some ways with getting rid of Bovino and Kristi Noem kind of getting removed from the scene, they brought in the border czar himself, Homan, who ordered all these operations in the first place to try to quell the situation. No one has any faith in that. So let me just describe my day today, Please. Let alone the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I wake up, and sure enough, I'm part of a local chat group, ready to respond to ICE activity or to whatever mutual aid needs that there are in the community. And there are whistles blowing 2 blocks away from me, near my own family. And of course, responders don't have the power to intercede in these acts. They only have the power to really witness. But there they had to witness ICE retaining, snatching, capturing yet another one of our community members and taking them away to a detention center. Throughout the day, we hear of similar stories, and I go out to do errands this evening, and down the block, someone's hearing whistles once more. We go to see if there was anything. Nothing, thankfully, was there. And then I'm dropping kids off at soccer practice, and there's a whole community there at the soccer practice facility at the door greeting the soccer players, making sure they're safely coming in. Actually, police making sure the scene is safe. No one is feeling safe right now in the community.
Have you attended any of the, Jeanne, have you attended any of the protests, and where were you last weekend?
Yeah, so sadly, Alex Pretti, who lived just around the corner from us, when we heard of the news Saturday morning early, my husband and I immediately put on our big coats and boots. It's sub-zero temperatures here in Minnesota. And we went to the scene of the killing. And what we saw and witnessed was the community coming together, a moment of solidarity, witnessing what was happening. And we were surprised to see that rather than law enforcement being on the scene to take care of the crime scene that had happened, it was the federal agents and Border Patrol and ICE still patrolling that area. And they kept coming in waves of people coming in and trucks coming in, and they got very aggressive. And what happened was, as the community members got larger, they got more aggressive. And they stormed into the crowd at least 3 times, tear gassing us and then retreating, tear gassing and retreating. And it was very similar the day after Renee Good was murdered, less than 3 weeks prior, where there was a mass protest at the detention center called the Whipple Building in Minneapolis. And the crowd was coming in, and the Border Patrol agents were getting very aggressive, coming out into the crowd, pepper spraying the crowd, tackling members. It's just a very violent scene.